Good afternoon and welcome back to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Joe Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. We've been coming to you live from the Singapore FinTech Festival. Joining me for this segment, we have Sivan. He is the co-founder and CEO of SOCASH, and we are going to focus on cashless solutions. Thank you so much for joining us at the FinTech Festival. So tell us about SOCASH and why your solution may be a smarter alternative to ATMs.
So SOCASH, as our name suggests, focus only on cash. So what we do is we provide an alternative to ATMs for consumers to access cash, and at the same time for the businesses to deposit cash. So we are not a cashless solution. What we do is we circulate cash, bypassing the traditional supply chain of cash. So if you like, most people would have seen security guards carrying guns and machine guns, like armored trucks, replenishing the cash machines and all that stuff. And that's a pretty 30-year-old supply chain, and it is one of the biggest contributors to the narrative of cash, because the supply chain operations and the liquidity being stuck in these machines overnight actually contributes to a lot of cost that is associated with cash. What we're doing really is making cash a lot more accessible, bypassing the traditional supply chain.
So if I needed to get cash, where would I go?
You go to a shop, let's say near where you stay. It could be a pizza shop, it could be a bakery, it could be a restaurant. Any place that accepts cash can now give out cash using our technology.
And what if they don't have enough cash on hand for the demand?
So it's a distributed network. They can go offline. Just like an Uber driver can choose not to drive his car, like if he doesn't like to. So what we provide is an application which allows them to come online and say, hey, I've got some cash to dispense of, and it attracts people in. And we kind of match the people who need cash, which is the cash withdrawal at ATM crowd, to the retailers who need to deposit cash, which is the guys usually who go and deposit money into the cash machine. So we kind of match these two. And circulate cash using digital payments.
So do you think cash will eventually go away?
It is possible when a better product comes, but you never know when that will happen.
Right.
As it stands now, if you look at the data that regulators publish every month, whether it's in the US, whether it's Singapore, Australia, any country, cash or bank notes in circulation is actually growing.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's growing at 7, 8, 9% in any market that you look at. So that's the absolute amount of cash that is growing, but the infrastructure, like banks are taking off the physical infrastructure.
Right.
So banks are going digital, and we are kind of providing the next tier of distribution for the financial services by converting people like you and me. We can exchange cash. Let's say I need cash, I can get it from you, as long as there's a settlement mechanism, and that's the technology that we have deployed in Singapore. It's doing extremely well. It's practically gone viral. We are probably the largest network in Singapore right now. To give you some data, right? So in 30 years, Singapore has got 800 locations of ATMs, like shopping malls and all that stuff. So in 7 months, we have tied up 1,400 separate locations of shops and retailers to just give out cash.
So you far surpassed.
The speed of creating a distributed network is much better on our platform. And it kind of complements the general shift towards banking going digital and the business models evolving.
If we could go back to why the usage of cash is growing, you said in some cases 7, 8, 9% per year. Why do you think that is? It seems kind of counterintuitive.
It is not counterintuitive to bankers and people who are in the industry. It is counterintuitive to evangelists and consultants.
Really?
But if you look at the data, that's the money in circulation, bank notes in circulation. The reason why is that as economies grow, the bottom half of the economy, like especially in Asia, the bottom half of the economy is actually driving, the growth in every market. And the alternatives, so you've got the debit card, credit card, these are things that have been there for 30, 40 years, right? But these are also expensive. So if I do a $100 transaction, I buy something, the retailer only gets $97 or $95 because the middlemen are actually taking away the $5, and that's a huge margin. Whereas cash is actually free. The only problem with the cash probably is with the guys who run the infrastructure, which is the narrative of cost of cash. That is purely a function of an inefficient supply chain, and that's what we are solving. So as consumers, I don't think anyone has a problem with cash. As retailers, not many have a problem with cash. Now, people do have a problem with cash, and neither of them. So that's that. It's kind of, and the narrative is getting balanced right now.
All right, and let's wrap it up with this. What is next? for SOCASH?
Next is we have proven that we are growing beyond Singapore. So we have incubated, we have kind of proven the platform in Singapore, but of course the markets like Malaysia, Indonesia, are like totally cash. So those are the markets where we are working on getting the model working, and we look like as our network expands, looking at covering Southeast Asia.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Very interesting.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining me throughout the day. We've been coming to you live from the Singapore FinTech Festival. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.